Hey guys, what's going on? Here for my UFC 96 picks. Sorry I wasn't able to get the 95 picks out there. Was out of town for a couple weeks. Okay, the first fight of the night on the main card is going to be Gray Maynard versus Jim Miller. Gray Maynard is an Ultimate Fighter alum. He's big and powerful 155er. He pretty much manhandled Frankie Edgar, which was really surprising in that fight because Frankie Edgar is one of my personal favorite fighters. Because I kind of put him in the Clay Guida mold where he just never stops. And Maynard just was physically bigger than him and was able to take the fight wherever he wanted almost. And, he's an excellent wrestler. But his striking really isn't... You haven't really seen it at all. And I think that's going to be the deciding factor in this fight. However, he has beaten Rich Clemente and Frankie Edgar, like I said, but in his wins that I've seen, he hasn't really been all that impressive to me. He's still just a wrestler to me. As far as Jim Miller goes, very impressed with Jim Miller in his fight against Matt Wyman. His striking was just very, very crisp and was able to beat Wyman to the punch every single time throughout the fight. And for the fact that he took that fight on, I think, a week's notice says even more. So I'm going to go with a little bit of an upset here. I'm going to pick Jim Miller on this one with the decision. Next fight is Matt Hamill versus Mark Munoz. Mark Munoz coming over from the WEC's 205 division. He's a thoroughbred wrestler from Oklahoma State. He's still a little green though. He's very new to the sport. He trains at Uriah Faber's gym, so you know his cardio is going to be up there. I watched a couple videos of him. He's a very good grappler. Matt Hamill, he's a big, strong 205er. I think there's going to be a little bit of a size advantage here in this one for Matt Hamill. His hands are always improving, but I was a little worried in the Reese Andy fight. He did come out a little sluggish until he turned it up in that second round and put Reese Andy away. I think Matt Hamill is going to wear Mark Munoz down, even though I think Munoz is a pretty good prospect. I just think he's still a little a little wet behind the ears. I'm going to go with Matt Hamill on this one. Pete Sell versus Matt Brown. You know, you look at these guys' records and you kind of wonder why they're on the main card and not on the undercard. But Matt Brown is a Cincinnati native. He trains at Jorge Gergel's gym. George Gerzel's gym. I don't know why I just said Jorge Gergel. George Gerzel's gym in Cincinnati with the likes of Rich Franklin and Dustin Haslett as well. Training there with those jiu-jitsu guys, his jiu-jitsu has gotten ever improving with each fight you've seen him. He's got good power in his hands as he knocked out Matt Arroyo. And like I said, he's just improving. Which is, some fighters, some professional athletes, it takes a little longer for the others to develop, and I think he's starting to come into his own a little bit. As far as Pete Sell, he's been around for a while. He's a decent striker. I actually thought he was beating Nate Corey in their fight until Nate Corey just absolutely put his lights out. And with that being said, I think it's going to be actually a pretty entertaining fight, and I'm looking for Matt Brown to submit him. Gabriel Gonzaga versus Shane Carwin. I think this is probably the fight that I'm looking most forward to on this card. Gonzaga is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He can roll with the best on the ground. He's a pretty potent striker. Everybody's seen the highlight reel of the Crocop kick that he delivered. But what worries me about Gonzaga is that if he is not able to do significant damage to people in his fights, he kind of starts to not believe in himself, it looks like to me. In the Randy Couture fight, he was going toe-to-toe with Randy, and then Randy it seemed like he just took his heart right out of his chest. And in the Fabricio Werdum fight as well. He dominated Werdum the first round. He was delivering vicious leg kicks. And then once he noticed that Werdum was just used to him, and it seemed like he kind of gave up on himself a little bit. Shane Carwin is absolutely enormous. he's got awesome power in his right hand. The Christian Loesch knockout was awesome. He's a great wrestler. He's got 4XL gloves, but he's still a little bit of a mystery because he hasn't really faced any top competition yet, and he hasn't been out of the first round. So his stamina, I'm going to question his stamina until he proves otherwise. It's not to discredit him at all, but, prove it. Prove that you can go 3 to 5 rounds. I also, I'm going to pick Gonzaga to win this fight. I think he's going to catch him in a submission because if Carwin cannot knock him out standing, I think he's going to take Gonzaga down, and Gonzaga's not going to have any problem working off of his back, and I think he's going to catch him in a submission. Which kind of, I like both guys. I want Gonzaga to win. I think Gonzaga's going to win, but I would love for Shane Carwin to win, and I think it's going to tell us a lot about Shane Carwin's future. Because I really, 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 really want to see him match up with Brock Lesnar, because physically he is Brock Lesnar's equal. They are the same size, and I don't think there's anybody else out there who can match up physically with Brock Lesnar like Shane Carwin can. As far as the main event goes, Rampage versus Jardine, I'm going to pick Rampage. The only way I see Jardine winning this fight is sticking and moving, and not trying to engage. I think Greg Jackson saw what Forrest Griffin was able to do to Rampage, and just have Jardine tee off leg kicks all day. And I think Rampage, if he takes those leg kicks, is just going to take Jardine down. Either that, or he's going to get close and bully him up against the cage and do some dirty boxing. Either way, I think Rampage is going to end up knocking him out. So there are my picks on UFC 96. Good to see you guys again. Have a good one. Bye.